as we start up today, this will be the last lecture in this class for the rest of the semester. So, thanks for taking that so well. So, after this week we have 6 weeks left, which equates to 12 classes plus Thursday, which is 13 classes. So in other words, you have 12 class periods to get this project ready so that you can present it 6 or 7 or whatever weeks it is from Thursday. All right, this was part 1. There's still 1 or 2 people who haven't finished part 1. This is where you were supposed to give me your requirements. All right, and I still want those. Even if you haven't turned them in yet, I still want you to turn them in so you know who you are. I'll leave it at that. All right. For the second part, I just need an update from you on where you are. So if you've been working on it, you've got some files that I can take a look at. They may not be completed. That's okay. But I need some proof that you've been doing something. Some of you gave me that in the first part. All right? Other people like Kelly has shown me some of the stuff that he's been doing because he's running into problems here and there where I've at least tried to help him. Maybe made it worse. But at least tried to help. All right? The other thing, too, and most of you have heard this already, but I got an email via Kristen Hesselbacher from John that he was able to stay on today. That's the first time since the weekend. And he's trying to get he's going to try to drive himself over to immediate care. His regular doctor is on vacation this week, so he picked a bad week to have his back go out. All right, but he's going to try to go, and he has no idea. So we have no idea if he's going to be back at all this week or not. It's not going to matter to any of you because you don't have classes with me on Wednesdays, but I'm going tomorrow. We get 2 personal days off we can take every year, and for the last few years I haven't taken them. You know, when my wife said, why don't you take off tomorrow? She said that, or April 1st. She said this to me about a month ago. And I said, why? She said, just because you're supposed to take their paid days off. You're supposed to take them. So take them, you idiot. All right? So that's almost how it went. All right? But, what's that? No, they don't accumulate. No. I've got over 150 sick days. They max out at 150, but if you don't take them, you don't get paid for them when you leave. So we had a guy who did that years ago. He had about 140 sick days. So the last semester he was here, he was only coming in once a week. And they really couldn't do anything to him because he kept, I'm sick, I'm sick, I'm sick. You know, and he kept doing it. But he'd come in often enough. They had a weird thing in the contract where if you were gone more than 3 days, you needed a doctor excuse. So he'd miss 3 days, but then he'd come back. Then he'd miss 3 days. And he did that for pretty much the whole semester. So again, the schedule for the rest of the semester will be lab, and as it says, the projects will be presented on 5/14. And 5/14 then, not there. All right, we're here in March, so we're, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That will be 6 weeks from Thursday. And again, the majority of your presentation that you give does not have to be on this DIP project, but it can be. This is your chance to showcase yourselves. So if you're really proud of one of the apps you built for Android, or if you're like Travis and you're really proud of one of your Swing apps, all right, you can present that, and that can be the majority of the stuff that you do. If there's something else, you can do that. I don't mind if you put up, a Word copy or a PDF on the board or on the overhead of your resume. It's not supposed to be 10 minutes of you trying to sell yourself. That's not what it's supposed to be. But I had a student a couple years ago, and it was, I think, the year before you, and I don't know if you saw the presentation or not, but Tracy Sengupta. And Tracy's a really nice person. Very, very different person in that she came into the program. She's probably 40-ish. And if she's younger than that, I'm sorry. But I would guess just looking at her, she was about that age. But the point is, that's the first time ever where we had a high school group come in for a tour. And she had called asking about a tour, so they had her come in with the high school people. She said, was that mind-opening? Because she hadn't been with high school people in quite a few years. She's married, but she's never had any kids. So she came through the program, and what I'm trying to get across to you is one of the things she did was she had a couple slides. She did some PowerPoint, some other stuff where she talked about the good things and the bad things in the program. And she didn't really slam me, but she was just honest. I didn't care. That was okay. This is your last chance. I'm still going to ask that you do course evaluations. I hope you don't put up something like, yeah, these machines, they just suck such big time, and why the hell didn't we ever get new ones? Because, let's face it, it sounds like we may for fall. I know that won't help most of you in here, but we may. Okay? Going along those lines, too, and Kelly was telling me he read this morning, but they're going to be doing updates. They're moving the Network Operations Center here, which is all the servers, the NOC. Right now, they're way down by the I/O area, and the reason they're moving them is the I/O people are all moving to Milton, and most of the health thing is moving down there, and they don't want those servers down there. So they're moving them someplace else. I don't know where, but they're moving them someplace else in the school. The reason I'm telling you that is at least from I think it's 3 a.m. till 7 a.m., that's the schedule right now, on Thursday, there'll be no virtual desktop. So it's not implausible that next Thursday there won't be any virtual desktop all day, just for that day. All right? So Travis was already telling me he was excited because he says, huh, gee, Uncle Jeff, can we do Swift all day then? And I said, yes, you can, Travis. All right? That's actually not the way it went at all. But if you have to do that, you can. Or the machines will still be up. You just won't be able to hook onto the virtual desktop. That's all. So if you've got something you need from the virtual desktop, if you could possibly do it on the regular desktop, you'd have to do that. All right? Questions on anything we just went over? All right. There is a folder out there on the P drive that's entitled 331, and it's got the last part of this project in it. Okay? I will tell you right now, it works completely, except somehow I lost all the images. And what I mean by that is the images are still there, they just don't show now. What shows is the default image, which is a picture of a projector. And I spent over an hour last night trying to get them back. But it was one of those things where, and same stuff I tell you not to do, I did. I changed a bunch of code. And rather than changing a bunch of code and then running it and changing some more code and running it, I changed a bunch of code about 5 times. And then I ran it. And I went back and I tried to undo all the changes that I made, and it still won't show them. So what I'm going to show you right now is basically where this is right now. Hey, if that happens, that's fine with me. I don't think that's going to happen, but I suppose you never know. One thing, this is broken up into 2. All right, catch browsers, this is basically with JavaScript disabled, and this is the last update. So this thing right here, all right, the way that this is changed, just so you know, it looks pretty similar to what you've seen before, but now notice if you come up here, you can go to Manage Users, and it allows you to insert or delete users, or if I spelled, if Zach is actually Zachary, for example, I can change that right here. So I can change that. How about this? We'll change this to likes no movies at all. Okay? So I'm going to do that right there, and I'm going to hit enter. Okay? So hopefully that made the change. If I wanted to remove somebody, so let's just put in bogus user. Okay? Notice I put them in. Now when I come in here, likes no movies at all, bogus user, see that? They've been changed. All right? And I can go back in there and I can also go in and say, I don't really want that bogus user. So they're gone now. And you'll notice that if I run it again, bogus user is now gone. Bogus user was just there, and now they're gone. Does all that make sense? And this is set up so that the reason I put that one on there is even if you disable JavaScript, okay, you won't be able to run this anymore because it uses some jQuery to do its thing, but it'll come up with a nice message that says JavaScript is disabled on your browser. In order for this to work, you must enable JavaScript. All right. So that's that one. And in much the same way, I could come in here and I could say, now I want to manage movies. So you'll notice I've been goofing around in here, and I went back and I got the old Harry Potter returns. But I can come in here and say, bridge too far. What year? I have no idea. 1955. What a movie. All right, and click there. Boom, and it should be in here now. So if I select star from movies, you look at the last one, A Bridge Too Far. What a movie. See that? All right. And I can come in here, and now I can click an X, and I can do it. Oh, I should show you this. Let me put it back in again. So, A Bridge. All right. And what I wanted to show you was if we come back now and to choose a moviegoer, that one of the things that's going to be in here, it should be, I don't know why it wouldn't be, was right at the top. All right, there it is. Okay? And I can click on it, and notice what happens. Like I said, I lost all those images, and I don't know why. Also, what works in here is if I click on the heart, notice what happens? It moves it over to the other side. See that? And if I don't want it there, if I click over here, then it moves it back again. This was not done in alphabetic order. It was done so that you could see the newest ones that you've moved from one place to the other place. Wouldn't take much. You just need an order by in there in order to be able to do that. All right. So, like I said, that was the one. So let me go back. And this is the other part. It looks the same. All right, but this is the one that doesn't worry about the JavaScript, but it still works the same way. You can manage users. All right, you can come over here and you can manage movies. All right, you still see A Bridge Too Far is over there, and again, I can remove that. So A Bridge Too Far is gone now. If I come back in here again, you'll notice that it's not there. All right. So basically, it is operational in that I can click and manage users. I can manage movies. I can select a moviegoer, and it's in alphabetic order based on their first name. Again, we could change that. Likes no movies at all. Notice you have no favorites. As soon as I put one in there, whoops, did it the wrong way. As soon as I put one into the favorites, all right, it now changes. It's spelled wrong. It changes to favorites. All right, so it doesn't say that anymore. Okay. Once you remove that, the garbage can goes away and it goes back to you have no favorites. All that makes sense? All right. And when I go back here to likes all movies, all right, well, they don't like Harry Potter because I just added that one last night. So if I do that, notice it looks like you like all the movies. Drag them to the trash can to delete them. And the trash can is here, but it just keeps moving its way down as you keep adding more movies. So I don't really like that Harry Potter one, and there it's back. That makes sense? And as you go and you move stuff into the garbage, all right, you can see that it gets put up there. And originally when I did this, they all had hearts on them. That's not what you want. That doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense to do that. But the idea is if you mouse over any part of this, that heart comes and shows. All right? And clicking that heart, as I've already told you, takes it and it puts it over here. And it adds it right to the bottom. Does all that make sense? Now, I wasn't going to go over the code because it really hasn't changed that much. There's just one thing that I did want to mention to you. And I wanted to go over, I guess I will go over a little of it, but not really that much. And what I do want to go over, though, in here is the stuff that's in this folder. Because this is the Ajax stuff. All right, and you look at it, it looks real similar to the stuff we did before. Okay, there's adding your user. There's adding the movie. All right, so you can see that this is all doing the same stuff, but eventually what you end up having to do is, remember, one thing about this is PHP cannot talk directly. PHP cannot talk directly to jQuery. Does that make sense to people? We've talked about this before because PHP is server side and jQuery is client side, okay? So when you're using Ajax, you're using it sort of as a conduit or something that you can use in between the two. So it'll talk to both of them. But when you're creating this stuff, technically, all right, Ajax has no idea. You just give it a bunch of stuff. In other words, you tell it what the file is you want to work with, where you want to send it, and what you want to do with it. It doesn't care that you're talking to jQuery. It doesn't care that you're talking to PHP. You're just giving it information, and it's kind of a funnel to allow the communication to take place in both ways, both from PHP to jQuery and jQuery back to PHP. All right, does that make sense? So the stuff is out here. It's by no means perfect. All right, and I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do this or not, but and I was hoping John would be here. But what I'd like to try to do, this won't be a regular lecture, but what I'd like to try to do when John comes back is to use that Site 5 to take this whole site, the one that works, and load it out onto Site 5 and see if I can get to that externally. See what I'm saying? Because that way I could show you the FileZilla stuff and moving stuff over and a little bit about cPanel. All right? But I don't want to even do it myself. I want John to be here. So if I have problems, I should say probably when I have problems, he can walk through with me to try to see if we can fix them. So again, that's really all I had. So last time, again, I do want to make sure that if you have not turned in part 1, that's not it. If you have not turned in part 1 of your DIP homework, turn it in soon. All right? And part 2 will be due a week from Thursday. So that's what? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You have 9 days to work on that. And out of those 9 days, you've got almost a full class period today. You've got a full class period on Thursday, and a full class period next Tuesday, and a full class period next Thursday. Okay? So there were no questions. So again, that's all I have. I am going to go over, we're going to write a couple small programs today in the swing class. All right, and what? You're right, Swift class. In the Swift class, thank you. In the Swift class, I've been looking at some JSwing on JavaScript. That's why I'm got swing on the mind, I guess. No, I've been trying to think about if there's a way to incorporate that into the advanced Java class. So I was doing some reading on that this morning. But thank you. You're right. In the Swift class, we're going to write a couple table-driven apps today. They're going to be very simplistic apps. All right, and like I said, that'll probably take just the first hour. Do you want to have a lecture today? We've got 3 chapters to go, and I can do those lectures for Android separately. I can do them at home. I have no problem doing them at home and giving you just time to sit there and work on your projects. Would you rather do that, or would you rather have me go over chapter 7 today? Okay, Laura says go over 7. All right, then we'll do that after lunch. That's all I got. I'd like us to try it. Well, what I'd like to do, the question was, once if we get that working on Site 5, yeah, we would have a lecture, but the lecture would be, I'd ask all of you to try to take that file and put it onto your accounts. See what I'm saying? That would be the lecture. And it wouldn't be a homework or anything, but at least it would give you a chance, like I said, to see cPanel and to do some work and to actually use an FTP, a file transfer protocol tool. So yeah, yes, you're right. There would. Yes, we'd walk through it step by step. And like I said, because I want John here to hold my hand. All right. It's done differently every way. I've done some stuff. I took a class online about 3 years ago where the instructor made you get an account with Bluehost. It cost about 30 bucks. He said this before you started, because you needed to have it for like about 2 or 3 months, and that was their best deal. So I got the thing with them was a WordPress class. I created my own site. I used cPanel. I copied everything over, put it out there, and had it up and running, because that's how he wanted to grade these. He didn't want you to send him anything. He wanted a URL that he could go to
where he could, he could look at your stuff. He couldn't change it, but he could look at it. That's what I want you to get to. All right. Other questions? Yes. And I'm not even sure what the seat panel looks like for Site 5. All right. So we'll get there. We'll get there as soon as we can. All right. So that's like I said, that's it for the lecture.